Hey, look, my favorite YouTuber Shori has uploaded. I wonder what he uploaded.
The 3DS is dead.
Boy, is he wrong.
So a month back, my idiotic friend Shori made a video titled The 3DS is Dead, where he states that the 3DS is dead and states some points like the 3DS game machine is pumping out games a lot slower than it used to back when the Switch wasn't on the market. But I for one think that the 3DS is far from its death, and no, it's not because it was just recently stated again that Nintendo is going to keep supporting the handheld. No, ever since the March Direct, I knew that the 3DS is going to be sticking around for another year or two. First thing I want to get out of the way is the fact that Pokemon is going to be on the Switch doesn't mean the 3DS is going to die. There's already plenty of Pokemon games the 3DS has. Plus, you can play some of the older games thanks to the backwards compatibility the 3DS has. So looking at this as your average consumer who wants to get multiple Pokemon games and buy a cheap console to buy it on, what would you think he or she rather pick? A pre-owned 3DS, which is $124.99 US, which is the cheapest I can find other than the regular 2DS, which is $79.99, or a Switch that only comes with one of said Pokemon games and costs $299.99 US. And if we want to go cheaper, and if that consumer is lucky to find a pre-owned Switch, then he or she is looking into buying the console for $289.99 US. So I'm pretty sure you know what the smart consumer would do. He'd go for the 3DS, unless he just wants something that's hot and new in the market. So in the gist of it all, Pokemon on the Switch doesn't amount to the amount of Pokemon games you can still play on your 3DS. But oh, retro, even without Pokemon games, the 3DS still isn't getting the same amount of support as the Switch. Well, my fellow reviewer, you are correct. The 3DS is not pumping out games like it used to. I mean, look at that March Direct. We only got like 4 to 5 games announced for it. But if you notice something, they aren't just regular old titles that are worth skipping, no. They are remakes, and I strongly believe this is Nintendo's way of getting people to go back to the 3DS and play them. Say, you ever wanted to play Luigi's Mansion? Well, now you can, brand new and remade for your nice old 3DS. Oh, and let's just throw in a remake of Mario & Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story, arguably the best game in the series. You see what I mean? They could have easily gotten loads of cash if they remade Luigi's Mansion for the Switch. I mean, no kidding, that game would have sold like hotcakes. But no, they decided to put it on the 3DS, which will definitely get players to come back to the 3DS and play it. We got a great example of this too. Look at Metroid Samus Return. People sure as heck bought that game. Sure, there was some complaining, but they still bought it. Well, maybe it's because it was Metroid and Nintendo fans haven't had a Metroid game in years, but that's not the point. The point is people are still willing to buy these games, and that's what matters. But let's go back to your regular old consumer, shall we? Alright, so let's say you're a casual gamer, again, and you're looking for a system, specifically a handheld system with plenty of games, and it's still getting support. Let's see, there's a 3DS that we went on about earlier, and the Switch. The 3DS has a humongous library of games that can be played, and Switch has some titles, but it's still somewhat new and it's still trying to build a solid lineup. Not saying that it isn't already solid, but it's still building one. So of course the smartest decision would be to get the 3DS if the consumer is finding what I'm describing, especially if they are buying it for a kid who just wants to play some video games. So you see, the 3DS is so far from being dead. But let me just contradict myself for a bit. That doesn't mean the Switch will be hurting its sales. You see, there's something I didn't mention, and that is some or most consumers usually want what's hot and new on the market, and that really does give the Switch the upper hand when it comes to more units being bought. And it also just comes down to preference between the two systems. I mean, god damn it, Nintendo, you just had to go compete against yourself. Weren't Xbox and PlayStation just enough for you? So you just had to go compete against yourself in the same market. But at least I can confidently say that the 3DS isn't dead, and it won't be anytime soon, it looks like. And again, it keeps getting support, so yeah, live on, little guy. I'll still be rooting for you until you die in like 2 years from now, and also, fuck Sorry,
I was playing with my not dead console. Well, tell me down in the comments below if you still play the 3DS. If not, tell me why. And stop fucking saying it's dead, because it's not dead. It's so fucking clearly alive, and Shori is a stupid piece of shit dumbass who made a video that made no fucking sense. I'll see you guys